All right, welcome everybody. It is April 3rd, 2019, and this is the KubeVirt community meeting. On the agenda and notes, we're still adding things, so if you have any last minute items, please do. But we'll go ahead and get started with a floppy disk API note from Mark.
Yes, the issue is that newer machine types don't support floppy disks anymore, so we decided to starting to reject them completely, not for selected machine types only, but completely, because we are not aware of any real good use case for it. The implementation is done. User guide update is in progress. That's it already.
Awesome. So if I had a need for something floppy-like, could I then use the CD-ROM instead?
Yes, CD-ROMs are still working.
Awesome. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. Moving on to updates from the networking side.
Sure. I'm not aware about everything, but what I'm aware of, quite a lot of cycles were spent the last week on working on cluster network add-ons operator, which is the operator that deploys all the networking bits of adjacent projects, like SRV, OVS, Linux Bridge, stuff like that. And also tries to accommodate for the fact that cluster may be OpenShift, maybe Kubernetes, it may have already deployed Maltus, it may have not. So there's that. We're going towards 0.3 release, merge and last bits, and also integration to hyperconverged operator of this network add-ons operator was merged. So operates all the way. So now hyperconverged operator will, as one of the operators that it deploys, there will be the network add-ons operator. And also on my side, I got back to looking at what's going on with SRV CI. So one of the ideas, like as you may have recollect, we had something that was even green, but from time to time, because of instabilities in the image that we were using to run the cluster under test, oftentimes couldn't start some base services like Docker and whatnot. So one of the ideas that I had is that perhaps the problem is with the image, because the errors that we saw there were really weird, like sec faults from containerd and whatnot. So what I'm trying right now is to pay a little price and just try to replace this image of unclear origin with the setup that so-called kind tool can produce. A kind tool is, as far as I understand, it's like an official tool from Kubernetes community that allows you to run clusters in actual containers. So it may deploy your like a multi-node setup. Each node gets its own container, and they also use this tool in CI needs. So this is my hope that since they are actually using it for reproducible, environments in other places, then it should also be stable in our environment. So I'm working on trying this out with this tool. I'm close to completion there, and then we will see whether this is any better. If not, we will need to find some more drastic solutions. So there's that from me.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there. Was just curious, does KIND in this context stand for Kubernetes and Docker?
Yes.
I'd love to have a link for that offline. That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it's actually very nice. It's like a CLI tool. You just call kind create cluster and you get a single node in a container. You can pass configuration with multiple nodes and whatnot. I was even wondering why we would need to use some like to start environments like we do right now with the QEMU and whatnot. If you can do it in containers and skip the second virtualization layer, but I guess the only reason for that would be that you want to completely isolate from environment of the host, meaning like have your own kernel and whatnot. I'm not sure whether we always need it to be sure that we never use the host kernel, at least in CI, but I mean, this can be an explanation. But otherwise, it's a very nice tool.
I agree. I don't know if there's an opposition to that line of thinking or if that was just something that grew organically with the tools we had at the time. So that'd be an interesting thing to explore. All right, are there any questions for Ihar about what he discussed there? And it seems kind of light on the agenda. Are there any other topics that we want to explore for the agenda section today? Okay, fair enough. Moving on to the open floor, we have a note from Peter Kotis about the VNC reconnect bug.
Hey, so Stu, just note if you can hear me. Yeah, great. So I've been debugging a bug when KubeVirt failed to reconnect to VNC. This is, as far from my point of view, it's quite serious because it blocks user for reusing the VNC connection when trying to work with virtual machine. As it turns out, this bug is not ours. It belongs to the QEMU, and they already know about that and they already fixed it. Why I'm mentioning it, that it is fixed, but it is fixed in staging and scheduled for release in QEMU 4.0, which will be someday in the future. And the bug is actually pressing us now. So there are two solutions I can figure out. First one is setting basically what we do is we open a socket and then we connect to this Unix socket. A quick workaround that will work, I already tested it, is set up the permissions to be read-only. This effectively blocks the QEMU for deleting the socket, and everything works as we expect. And second workaround is actually not a workaround, but a proper solution, which is worked on by Sebastian from networking team. Sebastian is designing a proper proxy for VNC and console. And from this point of view, I believe it's important to stress that we choose the solution that is either not blocked on the Unix sockets. That means use proper VNC server for this part.
So I see that you can simply set the directory read-only or probably the socket. And the socket is there anyway, so we can just do that, right?
Yeah, like the patch is, I don't know, a few bytes. I already did it. I can submit it and we are done.
Great.
So I can do it. And it has to be on the
directory. Best to do the socket directly read-only?
It has to be on the directory. I tried on the socket and it does not work. It has to be directory.
Okay, that looks like a good solution. Then, if there are no other virtual machines also writing sockets to the same directory, but I don't think so.
No, I tried. It's I checked that. It's only in the virtual machine port and the solution is it.
The socket will, no matter what solution we will choose, we will always use sockets.
Okay. And this is a temporary because once the QEMU, we upgrade to QEMU 4.0, the bug goes away.
Great, thanks.
Okay, I will submit patch. Thank you. Then
awesome. Thank you
for the notes. I believe this is solved. Thank you.
All right, and next thing to cover, KubeVirt on PowerPC update.
I added it. Here, Roman again. Although Artyom is also there, I just wanted to give a heads up that Artyom and Oreo whoever is the person behind that nick, managed to make virtual machines running on PPC, and they're in the middle of trying to integrate it. Right now we have the delivered container merged and ready for PPC64. We'll see how it goes on from there. Artyom, you have different view on that?
In general, yes. Oreo succeeded to run it on his PPC machine, but I wasn't succeed to run it on our PPC machine because some memory allocation stuff. Like from what I saw, the PPC QEMU, when you run it on PPC architecture, tried to allocate some, to lock some amount of memory. And from some reason on our host it just fails. So I hope I will continue to work on it on Sunday, because tomorrow we have a demo. so yeah, it's current the situation. But yes, Oreo succeeded to run it on his machine. And it's really nice.
Yeah, great. That's really great. Thank you.
Awesome. Are there any other things to note for the open floor today? Okay, well, that makes for a short and sweet meeting. Thank you, everybody, and see you next week.
Bye, guys.
See you.
Guys.
Bye.
See you.
Bye-bye.